Hello and welcome to the Bottom Bins podcast. Once again, I feel like I say this every week, but thank you so much for the support on our recent episodes. Really, really means a lot. And again, you can join us now on the Parlay Sports app, where we are now founding members. So head on over to the Apple App Store, download Parlay Sports. Keep saying it, future football conversation.
Some good content coming out on it this week.
Plenty of good content coming. We are going to be working with some big names within the industry. Looking forward to working with some of the big names in the industry. Exciting opportunities ahead, really.
So join us there.
Join us there. Come on. Come have a conversation with us. Come invite us to your conversations. We'll jump on. We're more than happy to jump on and have football conversations, because I feel like it's where my life is revolving around at the minute. It seems to be all I talk about. Don't know about you boys, but
Loving it.
football on the brain at the minute.
Loving it.
Yeah, so look, gonna jump straight into the episode. We thought we would do 2 episodes this week because when we recorded on Monday, there were still a couple of games still left to play in the round of 16. So we thought, look, round of 16's over today. This is Wednesday we're recording, so there's no World Cup for a couple of days. I think it's Friday. Friday we're back again.
Which is when this will be uploaded.
Exactly. So we just thought we'd get in a quick preview of the quarterfinal games. We'd talk about some of the round of 16 games. Some big shocks, obviously, within the round of 16. So, look, I just want to start with one thing, though, before we start going into the games. I seen this earlier, and I found this quite interesting. This is SofaScore's top 10 highest rated average player ratings throughout the World Cup. I want to get your opinion on these just. So, number 1 is Bruno Fernandes. Bruno is sitting at an average rating of 8.43 at the minute. Now, I worked out how SofaScore do their ratings. By the way, it's not fan voted. They actually have, so there's pass completion rate, dribbles, tackles, pressures, all this kind of thing. There's a number of stats that come into play with the SofaScore ratings. So, Bruno's average rating, he's number 1 in the list. He's sitting at an 8.43. Number 2 is Lionel Messi. He's coming in at a 7.95. Number 3 is Wojciech Szczesny. He's coming in at a 7.93. Number 4, Antoine Griezmann. He's coming in at a 7.93. Number 5, Kylian Mbappe. He's coming in at a 7.85. 6, Diogo Dalot. He's coming in at a 7.80. Number 7, Jean-Charles Castelletto. He's coming in at a 7.75. Number 8, Joshua Kimmich. He's coming in at a 7.73. Number 9, Mohamed Kudus. He's coming in at a 7.70. And finally then at number 10 is Cody Gakpo, coming in at an average rating of 7.63 per game. Couple of surprise inclusions within that list. Look, obviously there's some of these boys in this list that aren't going to play for the rest of the tournament because they're out. But I was shocked. I thought that Mbappe probably would have been the top performer at this year's World Cup. But judging by his SofaScore rating here, he's the 5th best player at the World Cup. His French teammate, Antoine Griezmann, who we touched on him in the podcast the other day. I thought his role with France was very, very important. I think he's playing some of his best football that I've seen him play, but I still didn't expect him to come in ahead of Mbappe. Joshua Kimmich there sitting at 8th. Considering Germany were so poor, I didn't expect to see a German player so high up the rating. And then with Cody Gakpo then sitting at number 10, again, that's one of those ones I thought Gakpo would have probably been in the top 3.
Yeah.
And no Rashford on the list, no England players on that list. So what's your takeaway from that? What are you thinking?
Well, I don't know. I didn't expect Griezmann to be on it. Obviously, he's played well, but as you say, I just didn't expect him to be on the top performing list. I think Bruno being on it's fully deserved.
Yeah.
He's been phenomenal. Even again last night, picked up an assist last night. It just shows he's vital.
Even like you were saying about pressures and stuff, he was the highest in Portugal yesterday. I think it was 57 pressures. Even that, the hard work he does for the team is underappreciated.
Yeah, it really is. No, he's having a great tournament. And obviously before the tournament, whenever Cristiano Ronaldo was still a Man United player, everybody was thinking that he was going to be the man to bring Portugal through, especially from Man United, and it showed out to be Bruno and even Diogo Dalot.
Yeah. I was just shocked. I thought there was just some seriously surprise inclusions on that list. That even that fella Castelletto there. Now, don't get me wrong, I didn't see a whole pile of Castelletto, but to have as high a rating as that there,
he performed well for Cameroon, to be fair.
Yeah. Well, fair play to him, Well, look, talking about Bruno, it can lead us on to yesterday's game. Really, well, I think we can start with Portugal. obviously we were recording on Monday, so the games that we didn't really get to talk about were the Portugal game and the Spain and Morocco game.
Yeah.
Now, were you shocked at all by how easy Portugal made it look against Switzerland? Or, sorry, let me rephrase that. Were you shocked at how poorly Switzerland played?
Yes, I thought Switzerland would be a bit more up for it. I did sort of mention last week how, because they're so up for the game beforehand, it might have took them down a wee bit. But I expected Portugal to win, but I didn't expect it to be as handy as it was for them. Really, they're unbelievable. Portugal yesterday just completely tore them apart everywhere, and it's the first time in a long time you've seen a Portugal team in a major tournament just turn somebody over at a decent level of opposition like Switzerland.
Mm-hmm.
Like Switzerland, they may not be have the biggest names there, but they are quite a well-established European side in these competitions. They're always there and thereabouts. They knocked France out of the last Euros, and they're 3-1 down in that game and come back to draw it and eventually win it on penalties.
Yep.
So it wasn't like a backs to the wall, won the performance win. So to see Portugal just turn them apart, and with a relatively inexperienced squad, there was a lot of big calls made yesterday.
Well, that's what I wanted to come to with you, Owen. Obviously, one in particular, exactly. Look, you on the podcast the other day, you were adamant, obviously, that for Portugal to succeed, they needed Ronaldo. Has your opinion wavered anyway since then?
Well, yeah. I mean, honestly, Fernando Santos has mugged me off completely. he must be listening and goes, nah, I'm gonna make him look like a mug.
Shout out to Fernando Santos.
You're
We're enjoying the pod.
Look at Ramos. I didn't know much about him. Obviously plays for Benfica, and Benfica just make unbelievable talent all the time.
Yeah.
And to score a hat-trick in your first international start at a World Cup, like you can't dream of anything better than that.
No, you can't.
And not just the goals he scored, but really, like, his first goal was fantastic finish.
Yep.
Pure power, like nothing Jan Sommer could do. The hat-trick goal, like, it's so difficult to chip a keeper but never mind chip a keeper, when the ball's run away from you,
Exactly.
you're full on the stretch, and just to get enough just to think it over him, he was unbelievable yesterday.
I think he actually could have scored 2 more,
Yeah.
if I'm being completely honest.
So you know what? Like, it's not going to come as a surprise to Portuguese fans how good Gonçalo Ramos was, though.
Yeah.
It's just because we're not used to seeing him. Like, he scored a hat-trick for Benfica in the Champions League this season already as well. He's been linked with all the top clubs. He was very, very close to joining PSG last summer.
Yeah, that's right.
And they went with that fella Hugo Ekitike or something.
Ekitike, yeah.
Like, he's been linked to these clubs. It's just we don't see enough of the Portuguese league to appreciate these types of players. It was the same when João Felix came onto the scene. But no, he's definitely made a name for himself.
Even his second goal was very good. Like, see the way he got across the defender
Yeah.
in the front post.
His movement was fantastic.
His finish, his third goal was unbelievable. His first goal was out of nowhere. Like, it was just, I don't even think the camera was ready. I don't even think they realised it was in. It was just like a fucking shot.
Some of the football Portugal played in that game was unbelievable. It was after the first goal. It was 1-0 at the time. Remember me and you were watching it, Oren, and João Felix, I think, picked up the ball in his own half. He just started going mad with step overs,
roulette and all.
Took the ball about 20 yards, started playing fantastic passes.
Yeah.
Ball went in.
That was straight after the first goal too.
Ball went in the Ramos. He flicked it out.
Yeah.
I think to Bruno, and eventually came to Tavio. It was a hard enough volley.
Tavio, yes, that's right.
It went straight at Sommer, but it was even just the build-up play was just mesmerising at times. Like.
But
lovely to watch.
The team even looked more confident.
Yeah.
Without Ronaldo there, it was like, we don't need to get the ball to
That's a
Ronaldo.
common
Everybody
theme.
can get
Express
their chance.
themselves,
Yeah, everybody
yeah.
can express themselves.
It's a common theme in the last 3 years that teams are performing better without Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah.
I know, it's mad to think, but it's true.
But Dorman, me and you were talking earlier about Portugal. You showed me a team. When was that from?
2010.
2010. And they had Fabio Coentrão playing on the left wing and Danny playing on the right wing.
Yeah.
So to see their attacking threat now, because Portugal's always been regarded as a top-level international team, but they've never had a surplus of incredible attacking talent.
Yeah.
However, last night, and in this tournament in particular, we have seen the attacking talent that Portugal possess. They've Rafael Leão on the bench,
I know.
who scored another good goal last night. Sommer probably should have done better,
Yeah.
but he scored another good goal last night. He's obviously got confidence oozing in him.
Yeah.
He's came off the bench and scored 2 goals already in this World Cup. They've got young fella Gonçalo Ramos. Hat-trick speaks for himself.
Yeah, that does.
Brilliant.
They've got
Bernardo Silva.
They've
Yeah.
Bruno,
Felix.
Ronaldo, João Felix,
Horta.
Otavio, Horta.
Jota's not even there from the
Jota's
recruit.
not there from
Jota's
the
not there from Saturday.
Nani's not there from Sydney.
No, their attacking talent is ridiculous.
Yeah, it
completely,
really is.
completely ridiculous. But the thing that's impressed me most about Portugal is they were kind of like England in a sense that they were going into this tournament with a lot of negativity surrounding the camp because performances hadn't been great in recent times. And, you know, a lot of the Portuguese media and a lot of the Portuguese fan base aren't particularly... They're not lovers of Fernando Santos. They don't really like his style of football because he is known as a
negative.
backwards negative
yeah.
manager. But I've seen a real shift in Portugal this tournament. I don't know whether it's because maybe the players have come together and decided, look, it's time for us to express ourselves. We have that talent within the squad now that we can just overpower teams.
Yeah.
Like you look at Portugal's wealth of attacking talent, even from defensive positions. Diogo Dalot, João Cancelo, Rafael Guerreiro. Like these are all boys.
Cancelo didn't even start yesterday.
Yeah.
Like,
Cancelo-
exactly.
Ronaldo
Like
dropped.
they didn't need Cancelo to start. They didn't need Ronaldo to play either. They've such a lovely balance within the team.
Yeah.
A player I really like, and I don't think he gets talked about enough. I actually think he'll go down as one of those underrated players of his generation. William Carvalho.
Yeah, he's played well.
Yeah.
Really, really like William Carvalho.
I think it was the other day we were talking about it. I'm not sure how many it is exactly, but I think it was around 80 appearances he's
something
made
like that.
for Portugal.
Yeah.
Something crazy like that. And it just... William Carvalho is one of them players who at club level doesn't seem to be about for that long, but he's always been in the Portugal team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he always performs.
See, he was always one of those players. He was always linked with the top clubs, but he never
Yeah.
he never got that big club move.
Yeah.
But he has had a very steady career. His numbers, his career-wise numbers, are in that what you would class as maybe not elite level defensive midfielder, but definitely in that top sort of that
Top bracket.
that top
Yeah.
bracket of
Yeah.
defensive midfielders. Look, he's getting on a bit in age now, but I have to say, I think his performance went a wee bit underappreciated last night.
Yeah.
His ball retrieving ability. I really thought João Paulinho was going to come in and be the man, that linchpin, that number 6 for Portugal at this tournament. But to be honest, with what I've watched of Portugal and what I've seen of William Carvalho, I don't think he needs to be taken out of the team.
No, they've got depth there too. Like
Mm-hmm.
me and Owen affectionately called Danilo Pereira Tree Trunks. Because we watched him again United for PSG and we just thought, look at that fella's legs. They are like tree trunks. They are whammy. So they've got Danilo Pereira, João Paulinho and William Carvalho just for that number 6 position. Do you know what I mean?
So it's some really good rotational talent there.
and
Like,
then
you
their
know.
centre mids have got, well, all the Wolves boys. Do you know what I mean? They've
Yeah,
Matheus Nunes, they've got
Neves,
Neves,
and
Martinho.
Osimhen,
Portugal's
They're-
got depth.
They're looking
Good
stacked.
depth.
The only thing that worries me about Portugal is when they do come up against one. Like, don't get me wrong, I agree with you. Once Switzerland are a well-established European international side, but what worries me is when they come up against a France or an England or
The
an
defence.
Argentina. I don't know how that defense is
Yeah.
going to hold up.
Pepe and Diaz.
I don't know. They've been performing.
Pepe was good last night.
He was
He
good.
was good,
Look,
yeah.
don't get me wrong, good player, and I really do think he is a good player. But I'm just waiting for one of the elite boys to come up against him, and we'll see how well he does then.
Yeah, no, it'll be a good test.
I was impressed with Ruben Diaz last night as well because him and Mbodo, especially when it was in the first half and it was still in the mixing pot,
Yeah.
had a really good proper like old school battle
They
of
did.
centre back.
And I
big,
didn't
strong
realise
centre
how
forward.
big
Yeah.
Mbolo was. Mbolo was
that's
massive.
massive. He's huge.
massive.
He's huge.
Massive.
And they just went off each other and Diaz had his own
Yeah,
because
Yeah.
the defender's always in the harder position there against the big bodied forward and Mbolo didn't score. He
Well,
kept his man quiet.
look, Mbolo is a career that has been totally marred by injury. I think with take injury out of it, I think Mbolo could have been one of the, like maybe not one of the top European players, but I think he would be at a better level than what he is right now.
Would you remember whenever he
When it-
left Basel?
Yeah.
And went to Mönchengladbach, and they put in that big promotional video.
Yeah,
And it had all the clubs that he had rejected. And like there was United, there was Bayern, there was Madrid, there was PSG and all. And he went to Mönchengladbach to get more game time. So it is just unfortunate.
it's unfortunate. I think even from the Swiss perspective, I'd say now they're going to move into a rebuild and a transition
Yeah.
phase now. I'd say that's the last of their
Like Shaqiri.
His last
generation.
Shaqiri,
Yeah.
has to go, yeah.
And it was a real shame because I like Switzerland. I like them as a team.
Usually solid team, hard to break down.
Yeah,
They just
but
were all over the
last
shop
night they just I think last night was just too much for them. I think Portugal were just
they couldn't deal with Portugal's press. I don't think they were expecting it because they probably thought Ronaldo was probably going to play.
Yeah.
They won't be pressing.
Well, I'd say they probably. Well, you could see from their game plan they expected Portugal to come out and maybe play on the back foot a bit, but Portugal did not play on the back foot a bit. But I think that's is it Otavio you call that?
Yes.
That fella.
Yeah.
I don't really know a hell of a lot about him, but after watching him last night, he's a very different kind of midfielder to Neves and a very different kind of midfielder to Bruno as well. I really liked some of the creative flair
He's good in the ball.
that
Yeah.
come out of him.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll offer you a lot defensively, but then I think that was what Portugal were aiming to do yesterday. Just
He's been
come
linked to
out and-
Liverpool for
Yeah.
years.
and blitz that fella Otavio, has he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who's he played
Porto.
for? Porto, is it?
Yeah.
He's a good footballer.
Yeah.
Well, Portugal have
Good footballer.
scored in all 4 of their games. I think they're the only country that've done that
Okay.
so far.
Yeah.
They scored 3 against Ghana, twice against Uruguay, once against South Korea when they're already through and basically topped the group, and then 6 last night. Like, they are banging in the goals.
They are.
Yeah.
They are.
I don't
Serious
think
stuff.
anybody gave them a proper chance, apart from Owen, of course. Gave them a proper
did,
chance
to
of
be
winning the
fair,
World
yeah.
Cup.
I was just hoping.
So was I, to be honest.
Well, I have them in the sweepstake. That's right.
You do.
I was praying.
But look, I do want to get your opinion on the Ronaldo situation. Obviously, we talk about him quite a lot in this podcast, and a lot of the news in the last few weeks has been surrounded around Cristiano Ronaldo, which it usually is, but a lot more so in the last few weeks.
Well,
given-
hopefully because he's not in the Premier League anymore, we won't have to talk
Well,
as much
that's
about
it too.
Ronaldo anymore.
But left out of the Portugal team last night. Obviously, he's the captain. There was talk about it being disciplinary issues and stuff, whatever. He was left out of the team. His replacement comes in and scores a hat-trick. Team wins 6-1 at the end of the game. Ronaldo doesn't celebrate with his teammates. He walks straight down the tunnel again. What's our opinions? Conor Dorman.
Yeah, it's disappointing. It's not surprising, really. Well, he did celebrate when they scored the goals. I think the media were trying to say he didn't, but he did.
Yeah.
I think he's just frustrated. Kind of probably shocked because as the manager was, like, him and the manager have a great relationship. He probably was shocked to get dropped. But again, it was his attitude. He just, see, when you're a top player at that top level, I think it's just, I think you do need to have that kind of attitude. Like, I'm the best, I'm undroppable, but his attitude was poor. Like, he was complaining at the coach, why am I getting took off? Why am I getting took off? And the coach made a choice, and I think he made the right choice. As we were saying on Monday, I think we were saying it, like, Ronaldo had to be dropped because I thought, I didn't expect this performance out of Portugal without him, but it was amazing. Like, just the pressing, they just looked so confident on the ball. You know, they weren't looking for Ronaldo. Even when Ronaldo came on, they were always just looking for him, and he's standing offside. And I think I seen even today he wasn't training with the other
Irish
substitutes.
squad
He
members.
was
Doing recovery with
doing
first team.
recovery in the gym. You know, I think this could be the end for Ronaldo with Portugal. I think this is his last tournament, and I don't know where he's going to go. See Saudi Arabia. He says he's not going, but who's going to take him now? That's the
I
question.
still think he offers a lot, so I don't think he'd be short of clubs, but I do understand what you're saying. It's a bit like what we were talking about
attitude,
with England.
Yeah.
And when we were talking about Rashford, it would have been hard to drop Foden or Saka to bring in Rashford, but obviously Fernando Santos made the decision to drop Ronaldo, and it paid off.
Yeah.
Richie?
Yeah, it's again, I said it on our last episode. I'm saddened because I feel like I'm watching the downfall of Ronaldo. I'm watching my favourite player be sort of hung out to dry. He's like old Yeller. He's going to be taken out the back soon and shot, and that's it. I feel like this is it. No, but genuinely, I
agree. That's what I said,
I
yeah.
feel like we're watching
This is the end, yeah.
the end of his
This is the
career.
end,
To be honest,
But did you think it was a hard choice for the coach? Because I think it's because he's such a big player, but I think it was an easy choice.
it's a
in
bold.
context.
It's a ballsy choice in the sense that it's Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
But at the same time, I think his decision has now been justified. And I be completely honest, I don't think Ronaldo starts another game in the World Cup.
No, he does not a chance.
Well, I hope the Portuguese fans see it like that.
Yeah. Oh, even the crowd, they were looking him on, cheering him. See, he's so loved
The,
there.
the play, but they play such delightful football without him. He slows the whole thing down, and it's like Connor said there. He stands offside more times.
He's in the
than not.
way. He's in the way.
He is.
He's in the
He
way.
is. He doesn't really. It's like I said on the episode the other day. Other than get you goals, he doesn't do a whole pile else.
It's as if he doesn't realise he's lost that yard of pace
Yeah.
because he's always standing offside.
I do have to say, though, you see when he came on last night, me and Owen were...
Yeah, you get excited. That's the thing.
we
yeah.
were standing there, especially when he had that free kick. Me and Owen were like pushing each other. Ronaldo's going to score this, and Ronaldo has frustrated the life out of me in the last few weeks. but I wanted nothing more than to see that net
Yeah.
bulge from a Ronaldo free kick.
Yeah.
Owen, what do you think about it?
I think if Portugal win the World Cup, we won't see Cristiano Ronaldo on the football field again.
Yeah.
No, I don't think
I
we
think,
will
I
either.
think
Even at club level.
no,
Yeah.
I think he'll go.
Well, he
out.
said he would retire.
I think
Yeah.
he'll go out on the highest of highs.
On the top. Yeah.
And I hope he does.
Yeah,
For his sake, I hope he does.
Yeah.
Santos deserves immense credit
Yeah.
because if that had went wrong last night, he would have been
Out of a
murdered.
job.
The Portuguese media would have crucified that
But do
man.
you not think he would have been out of the job anyway if they had lost? He'd have been out of the job.
Probably yes.
Yeah.
Probably
So
would
I think
have
he
been.
just
After a
went. This
decision
is
like that
this is
anyway.
he's given me an option to drop him. I'm just going to do it.
Yeah,
Basically,
probably.
I think that was it. Like.
Well, let's talk about Morocco and Spain. A huge result.
Yeah.
Conor Dorman's beloved Spain out of,
Can't believe it.
of the World Cup.
I'm just going to leave here for
The
5
World
minutes.
Cup champions, Spain. They had already won it, according to
My
Conor
eyes had
Dorman.
already won it, lads,
But yeah, out of the World Cup, 0-0 game that went to penalties.
Dreadful game.
Penalties
I know.
so far at this World Cup have been awful. By the way,
Oh.
no
Yeah,
one's just
brutal.
putting their foot through it. Credit to Bono though, 3 saves.
Sensational.
Yeah.
Owen, a
Morocco,
big U2 fan. How did Bono do for you?
he made sure it was a beautiful day for Moroccan football. I don't like to be cocky, but I'm going to be cocky. I did say Morocco were going to win.
No, you did. Fair enough.
You did.
And deserved it. Once again, Spain had the ball, played about with it, suffocated the opposition, but did nothing going forward. And like Morocco bided their time. They made a few chances, didn't take them. Made a couple of good chances. There was one time Boufal got the ball just inside the box, and he managed to get it across. And I can't remember who got the header on it, but he probably should have done better. It was about 8 yards out, free header on the right hand side of the goal. Probably
Yep.
should have done better. But as you said, it goes to penalties, and players are nearly just thinking too much about penalties. You're 12 yards out, just put your foot through it and put the ball in the net.
Yeah.
You seen it in the Croatia-Japan game.
Awful.
You seen it last night. Like Spain scored no penalties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's 2 tournaments in a row Spain have went out in penalties. I seen this yesterday. The last knockout game Italy won in the World Cup was 2006 final. The last knockout game Germany won in the World Cup was 2014 final. And the last knockout game Spain won was 2010 final.
That's crazy.
That's
Let's
mad.
see you.
That's crazy.
What do you think about it, Richie? Did you see it coming?
I didn't. I'll be completely honest, I didn't.
Yeah.
I've loved watching Morocco at this tournament, to be
Yeah.
honest. They are very saucy. They have some serious ballers in
Yeah.
there.
Well, can I tell you something? And you probably already know this. Morocco have played Croatia, Belgium, and Spain in this World Cup. And altogether, throughout the entire tournament, Morocco have conceded 1 goal.
And it was
In the entire
it was
World
An own
Chavez
goal.
who scored it.
An own goal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I love that stat.
Insane.
It's a nice stat. But Spain made it easy for them last night.
Yeah.
Spain, when I remember growing up and you watched those great Spanish sides, you had Fernando Torres up front and David Villa, 2 proper strikers. Spain lack that something serious. And yes, look, Connor, I agree. Morata scored 3 and 4 or whatever he scored. Like he had a
He
good
wasn't even
tournament.
starting. He didn't even start.
Yeah, no.
which was weird,
He definitely had a good tournament, and I don't think Morata's actually that bad, to be honest. I think he gets a worse rap than what he deserves, but
Not for me, of course.
No,
You were
No,
positive about
I
it.
love him. But
Look, don't get me wrong. It didn't work out for him at Chelsea, but like everywhere else he's been, he scored goals. Like I don't think Morata's a bad player, but they're just missing that world class forward. They're missing that. I believe. Do you see if you had the Spanish team from 2010 that won the World Cup, and you replaced every player bar the front 2 with this current Spain squad, they'd still win that World Cup.
Yeah.
That everything bar their strikers is elite.
They're missing like a David Villa or a Torres.
But they're
as you
missing.
said.
They're missing that goal scorer.
and they
that,
were iconic
out
strikers.
strikers.
They were.
Yeah.
They were.
They've been looking for that striker for the guts of a decade now.
Yeah.
And they haven't found one. Like, they still haven't found what they're looking for up front.
Yeah.
Like,
Hey, another you. Go on, Bono.
It's bad enough Spain lost, but all these.
but as you said, they haven't created a top class striker. Like, who's like Iago Aspas? No.
No.
Joselu,
No.
Jared Moreno.
Jared Moreno.
No.
Like, they haven't.
Costa.
None of these players have done it up on an international
Diego
level.
Costa as
Diego
well.
Costa.
yeah.
Diego Costa.
right.
Diego Costa was perfect for Spain as
Yeah,
well.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Was poor. I found Spain sort of just played into Morocco's hands last night. But you know what? I'm glad to see an African side going to the quarterfinals
Yeah.
of the World Cup.
Only a fourth time in history.
Yeah, do you know what I've noticed though? I feel like the axis of football power is changing. You know, every single tournament from I can remember, it's always been European dominance.
Yeah.
But I feel like the pendulum's swinging. I think it's like South America, Africa, even the likes of teams from Asia. They're now starting to really compete on the world stage
Great to see.
with some of the big boys. Like I meant what I said the other day. I see the likes of Germany and these boys. They're just a name now. They're not the same sides, and it's nice to see teams be able to come up and compete with these so-called powerhouses. So it's great to see, and honestly, Morocco deserved it last night.
Yeah.
No, even I have to admit they deserved it. It should have, I actually should have seen it coming, because you're sitting aside who's probably the best defensive side in the tournament so far, and you sit with Spain, who cannot create chances. Like it's like 78% ball, and they didn't create a chance. Like there's one shot on target, and the best chance happened in like the 120th minute with hit the post. But yeah, I can't. It's just so poor.
We've seen a lot. Sorry, Connor, go ahead.
No, so I was just going to say there was a story I seen last night on Twitter. We actually talked about it in the house last night, but I feel like it's appropriate to talk about here because I think this envelops Morocco's mentality. Sofiane Amrabat was up with the physio 3:00 in the morning, the day of the game. He was injured, but he said he couldn't let his country down, so he was getting steroid injections. He was up with the physio all night getting rubs, making sure that he was in playing condition. To me, that just says how much this means to the people of Morocco.
He was brilliant yesterday.
Yeah.
He was a key player. Like.
He was here, there, and everywhere, and it's no surprise that he's been linked with top clubs. I think even in Serie A this season, his numbers are very, very good. Like he'll get a move in the summer. I have no doubt about it.
Did you see what his agent said?
No.
His agent said this World Cup's gave everybody the chance to see the best holding midfielder in the world.
Well, look, I maybe wouldn't go that far, to be honest.
Obviously, he's his agent. He's going to say that.
Yes.
But
He's going to big him up. Look, don't get me wrong. I still think he's a fantastic player, and he's the right age where I think he could be at one point in his career. But look, there's still levels to this game.
no,
you know?
100%. I'm not saying it.
Yeah, no. I know you're not. But I mean, when you look at the likes of like Casemiro, like that's the level you need to hit to be the best in the world, and he's not quite there yet. But to me, that said a lot about Morocco's mentality, and it would be absolutely fantastic if they could get to a World Cup semi-final, and I'd love to see it. So, as much as I want Portugal to win it because of the sweepstake, imagine the dream scenario where Morocco, the team from Africa, go and win the World Cup.
Yeah, it'd be
That'd be
incredible.
class.
So,
Something.
let's go for the underdogs.
Yeah. Well, we'll all love that. Connor Dorman
Oh,
hates the underdogs.
I changed my mind. I changed my mind last time. Morocco, go on.
Go on, Morocco.
Well, if Morocco win, then I could be like, oh, the
they
Spain,
beat
you know.
Spain.
They're gonna win it.
I think Spain a wee bit kind of fooled everybody with the first game against Costa Rica. They blew Costa Rica out of the water and they blitzed them. But their last 3 games were very poor.
Yeah.
Like they're good in the first half against Germany, just
Yeah.
disappeared in the second half.
Yeah.
They couldn't score for love nor money in the second half against Japan.
Yeah.
Like I think Japan touched the ball for about 3 times in that second half.
But like that first half as well against Japan, they destroyed them, but they couldn't kill them off. They couldn't get the second goal.
Couldn't
That was
put the
it,
ball in the
like,
net. And then when Japan were in the lead, they couldn't switch it up
I know. It's just,
and make something happen.
Look.
And obviously that yesterday.
I just realised why you boys don't want Spain to win as well. Yeah.
Hey, yeah, 100%.
No, well, I wouldn't even say that's my reason. It's because Gavi plays for them.
I've got nothing against Spain. I just
So-
thought Morocco's better than them.
Pack your bags, Gavi. You're going home. No, but look, what I was going to say is Spain have the guts of a fantastic squad there. They just need to go and get themselves that world-class forward.
Yeah.
I think once they get that world-class forward that can finish chances, they will be absolutely fine. They'll be back again. Not this World Cup, though, so pack your bags. You're going home.
Did you see the Morocco fan on Twitter? Or he done
Yeah.
a video.
Aye.
He goes, airport, that away!
Yeah, it's brilliant.
But as
Brilliant.
someone was saying, that's not easy found, that world class striker. Like,
Well,
that's
look,
the problem.
the-
They might never get.
Look, the only thing you would say about Spanish football is that they produce
Supers.
talents like nothing normal. So I have no real
Figures.
qualms that come the next World
There's
Cup,
somebody out
there'll
there.
probably be somebody there
Yeah.
that's playing striker for them.
There's somebody in Spain who can put a ball in the net.
Yes, there is. And more than likely, he'll be there for the next World Cup.
Yeah.
So whoever you are, imaginary mystical striker,
Look forward to seeing you.
Yeah.
Hope you're enjoying the pod.
You'll probably be playing for Madrid or Barcelona or
Yeah.
somebody. So good luck to you, lads.
Well, we would talk about the quarterfinals.
Yeah.
So we've obviously been talking about Morocco and Portugal most recently. Connor, what do you think about that game preview?
I would like the financial aid of winning the sweepstake.
Of course.
Of course, it could do with the money,
Yeah.
to be honest, because this podcast don't pay. However, wouldn't it just be, like I said, wouldn't it just be great to see Morocco go all the way? So, look, I think if I'm being sensible about it, I don't think Morocco have enough to beat Portugal, and I think Portugal's just too strong for Morocco. It's the one thing. It's the biggest difference between Portugal and Spain at the minute. Portugal have that attack and flair up front that can finish and create chances on a whim. Portugal's just too strong for them, to be honest.
We can't call Morocco weaker opposition, so I'm not going to. But does Ronaldo start?
No.
No.
Not a chance.
No, I don't think. Honestly, I don't think he starts in our game in the World Cup.
Same.
Last night was proof enough for the people of Portugal, the world's media, and Fernando Santos himself that they can win this World Cup without Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Ronaldo's not the be all and end all. If this was 4 years ago, different story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 2022. Cristiano Ronaldo's 37, soon to be 38. They're better off without him. I said this at the start of the tournament. I said this in the first podcast,
Yeah,
our
you did.
first World Cup special. I thought Portugal would be stronger without Ronaldo.
Yeah.
I'm sticking to my guns, and I still think they're stronger without him than with him.
Yeah. Connor Dorman?
I'm going to shock you, lads, and I'm going to go for Portugal. No, I'm joking. I go for Portugal because... because you are all... No, that was a joke because you are all like, oh, you always go... You always, never go for underdogs. No, I'm going to go Portugal because they're they're a better team than Spain, creating chances, as Connor said. And,
Wait, whoa. I thought nobody was better than Spain.
Connor or
class.
Elbow Man.
This is just a roast. lads.
There's a soft spot in that one's heart for Spain.
Yeah, I just love Spain, lads. No, I'm going to go for Portugal because I do think Morocco are one of the best defensive teams in the tournament, but I think it's a step too far. And if they concede an early goal, I think Portugal will kick on and get
Yeah.
a result. So
Yeah,
I think
you're
I'll
going
go
for Portugal?
Portugal, yeah.
Oh,
I'm really looking forward to this game
yeah, so am I.
because it's probably the best defensive side in the tournament so far against the best attacking side in the tournament, and I can't wait to see which ideal comes off and which ends up winning it. But I'm gonna have to stick my own guns. I predicted Portugal to win it. To win it, they have to win the quarterfinals, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna predict Portugal.
Yeah. No, I think Portugal win too. I think I've been cruel to Morocco this World Cup, I'm not going to lie. Every single game they've played, I've been like, yeah, no, Morocco don't stand a chance against this team. But they're proving me wrong, and I'm glad they are. Like, I do love seeing the underdog win. I've just never bet on them, do you know what I mean? So, yeah, I'm going to go with Portugal. I just think Portugal have a bit more than Morocco. Don't get me wrong. I would love for Morocco to prove me wrong again, but
Yeah.
I just think Portugal's a step too far, especially the way that they're playing and the confidence that they have at the minute.
The goals are scoring.
Yeah, and the goals
Yeah.
are scoring. The next one, France versus England. These are both the Saturday games, by the way, so there's France versus England. Is it a step too far for England, Richie?
No, I don't think it is, to be completely honest. I know, obviously, over the past couple of weeks, we've all had our opinions on the England side, and a lot of it's warranted. But I think England's a better side than France, to be completely honest. I think you take Mbappe out of the France side, and
Olivier Giroud.
and Giroud.
And Griezmann.
And Griezmann. Look, don't get me wrong, France are extremely talented, and they have just been typical France, even without Kante and Pogba, which is so crazy. But I just think England have too much for them, to be completely honest.
You're going with England?
I'm going England, to be honest. I think, I hate to say it, like, because I don't want them to do well, but I really think England's gonna get to a World Cup final.
Really?
I do, yeah.
Do you think they beat Portugal? Or
I don't think they'd beat Portugal, but I think that I genuinely think if they got Argentina or Brazil, I think they'd beat them.
Well, they can't.
No, they can't.
They
They
have
have
to get
Portugal.
Portugal.
Oh, sorry, they have to get
semifinals.
Portugal.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Or Morocco.
Or Morocco, yeah. Yeah, like, again, they're just one of those sides that even though like they play some of the worst football I've ever seen, they just somehow find a way to get the job done, which is weird. Now, don't get me wrong, I think the one thing England have over France is I think their attacking depth is stronger than France's. I think France's first 11 is really, really strong, but I think take out their first 11, I don't think they have attackers on the bench that are going to come on and necessarily change the game. I feel England have that talent on the bench that can do that. I think if the likes of Foden and Saka's not working, you always have Rashford and Grealish on the bench, and they can come on and completely change up the way England want to play. If you take Dembele or Mbappe or Giroud off for France, I don't think there's a lot on the bench that can then compensate, because I don't think Thuram's... I don't really like that guy Thuram. I don't.
They've Moussa Diaby. He's a good player.
But he hasn't played many minutes in this tournament. And they normally go to Kingsley Coman. And I don't think Coman's that good either, to be honest. I don't think he's as good as Grealish, Rashford, or any of those attacking talent on the England bench, to be completely honest. So I just think England have too much for them. The only thing that worries me about England is maybe, we've constantly said this lack of a world-class centre-half. And that would worry me. France are going to be very quick, obviously. They're going to be quick in transition. So that's where the likes of Maguire might get killed a wee bit. But I still think England have too much for them. Even in the midfield department, I think they've too much for France.
Fair enough. Didn't expect that, to be honest.
No.
Owen?
I'm the complete opposite end of the spectrum. I give England no chance. And I also wouldn't mind the financial benefit of winning the sweepstakes, but I would much rather England not win the World Cup than I get money. Look, Connor was saying he believes England have a wee bit too much for France. I nearly the other way about. I just thinking about the French squad, and I know you were talking about England's depth, which I do agree with you a wee bit there, that maybe their attacking talent to come off the bench is that wee bit better, mostly due to the injuries France have.
Yeah.
Like if France still had Benzema and Kunku
Look,
to come out of that squad,
yeah.
like it'd be a different story.
Look, if France were full strength, this is no competition.
But I was just thinking for their squad, like even their goalkeeper, Pickford's great for England. Laurie's probably still a better goalkeeper.
Yes.
Their defence, France's defence is so much better than England's in my opinion. Except maybe at right back where England have they just hit regen on about 50 right backs about 20 years ago, but for some reason. And their midfield, I think France's midfield is fantastic. Bellingham's been great this tournament for England, but they're still not 100% settled. I know Henderson scored against Senegal there, but they're kind of switching in and out a wee bit for like the whole tournament. France have that settled midfield that have been dominating games, and I think Mbappe and Dembele will have a field day against England.
I just find with France though, again, there is a lot there I agree with you on, Owen. I think France as a defensive unit are better than England, but with England, when you watch them, they have recognised patterns of play. I don't see the same thing with France. To me, what France have looked like doing this tournament, and again, jump in if you think I'm wrong here, but I have just found France to be very one-dimensional in the sense that it's just get the ball to Mbappe. I find France to me personally, I find France are holding out on the hope that individual brilliance will carry them through games, as opposed to recognise patterns of football and play.
See, I don't know if it's one-dimensional with get the ball to Mbappe. I think it's worked with get the ball to Mbappe, so there's been no reason for them to try anything other than get the ball to Mbappe. They could be working on stuff behind the scenes, but I feel, and I know me and Oren gush about him all the time, but I think Giroud just gives that France a different dimension to maybe somebody else up front. Like Giroud will get in there, and I know Harry Maguire would love a battle with Giroud.
Yeah.
But Giroud can distract Harry Maguire a wee bit from getting physical close up to Maguire. Next thing Maguire looks over and goes, where has Mbappe gone?
Yeah.
And Mbappe is way down the wing, and I know they talk about Kyle Walker and keep up with him. It's Mbappe. He's the fastest player on the planet. Like he doesn't need the ball to make a play fall over as he done again in Denmark.
Yeah.
I do personally think. I could be wrong, and I could be about to get mugged off again, like the Portuguese management mugged me off. But I don't think England have any chance, to be honest with you.
Dorman?
Yeah, I go for France as well. Same points as Owen's making. Their defence has been very good as well. They've world-class centre backs. Even Koundé, he's went into right back and he's played well against Poland. Midfield's going to be key. Bellingham, Tchouameni is going to be the key battle.
Yeah, it's big battle.
If they can stop him or Bellingham, I don't see where. Well, obviously, if like Foden is creative as well, but Bellingham's the key. I just think Mbappe is just going to be a nightmare, and they might even focus too much on him, forget about Giroud and Dembele. And Giroud, I think Giroud will give Maguire a bit of trouble
Mm-hmm.
because it's just his hold up play is just unbelievable. But I think England will actually go to 5 at the back,
Yeah.
and they'll go defensive, and they'll be like, we'll just hold on as long as possible. Hopefully get a goal. I think that's the only way they can really win it.
Yeah.
And I think Southgate will go back to his old ways, and I think France will get an early goal and beat them 2-3-1.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think France will beat England. I think it'll be a tighter game than I'd say most people do think. I agree with you as well, Richie, that there's obviously a strength in that England squad. But I think their main strength is Jude Bellingham, especially in this World Cup. And I think it'll be a test for him personally against France.
Mm-hmm.
It'll show, can this kid really do it, especially against Tchouaméni, who's playing unreal for both France and Real Madrid.
Yeah.
I don't know. I struggle to agree with the one-dimensional part just because they're using both their wingers. Like, I know everything seems to go through Mbappe, and it might just seem like that because he's getting all the goals. But Dembele has played really, really well at this World Cup. And I just think their attack and play, if they do, especially if they do go to the 5 at the back, Connor, I think France will tear them apart.
I think Griezmann will be key as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Greece,
Just pick the holes.
his
and
close
it'll-
control is
yeah.
insane. And I think, I don't know, I can't see England beating France just with their defence.
Yeah.
I always do think about England's defence before thinking of anything else, because I think Harry Kane's probably the best striker in the world, or at least one of them. So there's no reason that England wouldn't score goals. Have they the most goals this tournament? I think they have.
Yeah,
Haven't
they do.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
Or maybe Portugal.
Portugal.
Aye,
maybe
they
Portugal
mightn't
last night.
anymore,
Or-
but
yeah.
even still, they've scored
goals.
They've scored a lot of goals this tournament.
yeah.
So I don't think they've a problem in scoring goals. I think France's defence might cope better than the other defences that they've faced so far.
Yeah.
But in terms of attack and play, England, I think there's no problem there. Midfield, no problem there. Defence is the only thing I worry about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that Mbappe, playing the way he is playing, Giroud, Dembele, Griezmann, I just think it might be a bit too much.
See, I think if this was 4 years ago, I would definitely sit here and be like, this is a whitewash. But I feel like England now are just more fit to cope with the big boys. Like,
But is that only after the other night's performance?
no, I've felt this way from
But they're-
before the start of the tournament. I feel like England, like, I genuinely feel like this is one of the better England sides I've probably ever seen in my lifetime. I just think they're very well equipped to deal with the dangers that other nations have now. Like, don't get me wrong, I think Mbappe's had a nice run of it because he hasn't come up against somebody yet that's capable of dealing with him. Look, I really, really rate Kyle Walker, and I think look, I've said it before, I said it a couple of weeks ago, I've seen Axel Tuanzebe deal with Mbappe.
Nah.
And if he
That was
can,
witchcraft from
But look at
Pogba.
the way,
That was
look at the way
nothing to do with his
Mbappe is
ability.
playing.
No, but if-
Look at the way Mbappe is playing.
but if he can deal with Mbappe, I see no reason why Kyle Walker can't.
We all have an off game though. The way he's playing at the minute, he's been unbelievable.
Yeah, he has, but look, I just
But England-
I just think England's
But
better.
when's the
equipped
last
to
time
deal.
England beat a big team, like in a big tournament? It's been a
Look,
long
look,
time.
I just
if they do this, then I'd be like, this team could win the World Cup. If
Look,
they beat France.
I think England's gonna shock a lot of people come Saturday.
It'd be a
night.
good game.
I really do.
No, I'm looking forward to it.
Hopefully
Like,
Southgate doesn't go 5 at the back though. Hopefully he goes for it because it'll be a good game.
I think it'll be a good game anyway. They're both strong sides.
Like,
It's we're at this stage of the World Cup where every game matters.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
not every game matters anyway. Like, but these are the
You can't have an off day anymore.
you can't have an off day.
No,
One-
you can't.
It takes one player out of the 11 to have an off day
That's
for your
over.
whole team.
Yeah.
To, for lack of a better word, shut themselves.
Yeah.
yeah.
And nobody can afford to do that at the moment.
The quality now is unbelievable. Like at this
Yeah.
stage.
And like the one thing I'll always come back to, and look, I think it's unfair to other players who don't play in the Premier League, but all the England side play in the Premier League. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the best league in the world. They're playing against the best players in the world week in, week out. To me, I do just think England have solutions for all of France's wee problems. I think Walker can deal with Mbappe. I think Rice can pop up in those areas where Griezmann's probably going to want to operate in. I think Shaw can deal with Dembele, no problem. I think if Giroud wants to get physical, well, Maguire's one of the best physical defenders there is out there. That's what he's good at. When people play into his hands, I think Giroud maybe plays into his hands a wee bit too much. The only thing that worries me is just if England got too overconfident and really started to try to dominate the ball or dominate the possession, I agree with Connor. I think their best avenue of this is to drop back, let France have the ball, play about with it, and hit them on the break.
That's what they're going to do.
Because I think that's where England will score their goals. But if they start dominating the possession, that's where I would worry, because I think France is a better counter-attacking side than England are. But I think it's intriguing. But I think if England win, people are going to really have to sit up and take notice. And they're going to have to go, right, you know what, they are legitimate
They're
contenders for this.
They win this.
It's an interesting opinion. Like,
I feel if England start as sluggish as they did against Senegal, France will be gone.
Yeah.
England were, for the first 40 minutes against Senegal, were second best.
Yeah.
They cannot afford to do that against a team like France.
No, they can't.
At this stage of the tournament, you can't take 40 minutes to wake up, or you're gone. And I just feel France are the better team. I think France match up better. I know you're talking about England have ways to combat France's problems, but could they maybe be creeping in? Obviously, we're not in the camp. We don't know what's going on. But could there be maybe a wee bit too much of what are they going to do creeping into the back of the minds?
Possibly, quite possibly.
Like, you're looking at that France team and Mbappe's jumping out at you. I feel the whole emphasis of this week is how do we stop killing Mbappe? How do we stop killing Mbappe? But if you focus too much on that, you're opening up Ousmane Dembele.
Yeah.
You're opening up Griezmann. You're opening up Giroud. So that's my fear of England, and I just think France is a better team.
well, look, it's going to be a good game, no matter what, and we're looking forward to Saturday to watch it. Before that, though, we've got Friday's games. First one being Croatia versus Brazil. For me, there's one winner, and that's Brazil.
Brazil, yeah.
And I would say you're all going to agree with me.
Yeah.
Any shocks there?
Croatia's just a weird side, though, aren't they?
Yeah.
They do have that ability to turn over big opposition, which is the only thing that would worry me about that game. But Brazil have just been playing that well that it's hard to look past them, really.
Yeah.
It's strange when you look at the South American sides, because you have Brazil, who have been so impressive. You have Argentina, who have been a bit lackluster. But those two sides were probably everybody's top picks to win the World Cup, realistically. I just think Brazil have too much for them, to be completely honest. You know, the funny thing about Brazil is they didn't really take a whole pile of defenders. They didn't really take a whole pile of like defensive minded players, which says to me that Tite's ultimate game plan was just always to play football around the opposition.
Yeah.
You know what you get with Brazil. They're going to keep the ball on the deck, play that samba style of football. They're a joy to watch. And
Unless you're right, King.
unless you're right, King,
Don't like the dancing.
he doesn't seem to like
No
it.
dancing.
No
No
dancing.
dancing. No dancing, please. Yeah, I think the fact that Neymar is back and scoring as well has really, really helped them too. So
And they've their cheerleader, Alex Telles, on the sidelines.
it's a real shame for Telles, because he was
It
playing
is.
well.
Yeah,
He
he's
was.
playing well, yeah.
He was playing really, really well. So, no, look, at Brazil, I just think have a wee bit too much for Croatia. But at the same time, it wouldn't shock me if Croatia turned Brazil over, because they have that shock
If
within
it goes
them.
to penalties, Croatia will win it.
I
They
think,
always
yeah.
win on penalties, but I don't think it will go to penalties.
Croatia do just have this knack of grinding out. Like, I predict Brazil. I'm not that mad,
Yeah.
but would I be shocked if
Like you would.
I
be.
would be.
You
You
would
would
be.
be. You would be. you
I'd
would
be surprised?
You would be shocked.
I
You'd
would be
be
surprised
shocked.
I'd be surprised if Croatia win, but history has showed us that Croatia have this knack of just grinding out.
Yeah.
Like, they've seen it against Japan there. Japan were probably the better team in that last 16 game, but they fell behind. Croatia got their goal. They grinded the penalties, and they won the shootout. It's a bridge too far for them, I think, to beat Brazil, but I'm not giving them no chance. I'll say
I
that.
I think they have no chance, to be honest.
Yeah.
Even I watched them against Belgium. First half they played really well, but then they just resulted back to just being defensive, and they got lucky. Like Kaku missed them chances, but Brazil have too much in that forward line or attacking players to not finish those chances. I think Brazil will
No,
2-3
I,
0. I think they're too good.
yeah, I agree. I can't see Croatia getting anything from the game at all. I thought against Japan they were awful.
Oh, they were brutal.
Awful. It was a horrible game of football, and the penalties were even worse. I don't know. Brazil. Well, I predicted Brazil to win it, like, so there's absolutely no chance I'm going to bet against them. And I just think the team unity and all that Brazil has at the minute, and we can see that with their celebrations and stuff. Even the manager getting involved.
Yeah.
No, it would be a huge surprise to me.
They're
if-
really
if
confident
Croatia
as
got
well.
through.
Like, they're really confident as well.
But one thing I do want to say, I think this will be, well, obviously because we all think Brazil's going to go through.
It's be class.
That's probably going to be Luka Modric's last ever World Cup appearance.
Yeah.
It'll probably be his last ever international appearance,
Yeah.
realistically.
He got took off yesterday as well. He got took off. He's just
He did, yeah. And there was no real ovation for him, which was sad.
he's top player, like, but
Oh, he's one of the best.
Yeah.
ever,
Yeah.
he's top player.
Final game. We've got, and probably, in my opinion, the most exciting game. Netherlands versus Argentina. Richie?
Strange one, this. It's hard to call. Before the tournament, I was very, very confident that Argentina were going to get the job done. They've been incredibly lackluster. Seem to rely again too heavily on Messi. And with the way that Louis van Gaal plays football, I think the Dutch could beat them. Obviously, for the fairy tale, everybody would like to see Messi win the World Cup, but I don't know. I really think that Argentina's going to play into the Dutch's hands, and I think the Dutch are going to beat them. Not that the Dutch are anything impressive either. I think it doesn't really matter who goes through in this game. They're going to get beat by Brazil in the next game anyway.
Yeah.
So I think it makes no difference anyway. But I think it'll be a decent game of football. Depends what way both sides come out. Like, you know what you get with the Van Gaal side. They're going to pass the ball sideways and backwards, and they're going to try and get on the ball and keep possession of it. And Argentina's going to try and hit the Dutch on the break. I don't know. I know you were saying you think this is going to be the exciting game. I don't. I think it's going to be like 1-0.
Yeah,
Do you reckon?
I'd agree with that. I think what Holland will do is they'll just go on ahead Argentina. You take the ball, and you just try and play through us, and we're just going to counter you. And I think Argentina will fall for it. I think everybody wants that Argentina-Brazil game. That will be like, I think the game of the tournament, that would be unbelievable.
Yeah.
But I do think, and I obviously not a big fan of Louis van Gaal, but he does get results, and I think he's going to get a result here. I think they're going to beat them.
So yeah, I think Netherlands have a real opportunity to get to the final. I don't think they'll beat Brazil, but like you were saying about Croatia, it wouldn't shock you if they overturned Brazil. It really wouldn't shock me if the Netherlands put it up to Brazil and got a result against Brazil. Just because I know we've been talking about Van Gaal, but he grinds out results, and he does get results. And like I watched that game against the USA, they turned them over.
Yeah.
They really did. Like the USA, don't get me wrong, they showed a few chances. They showed a bit of promise. And we were talking about it there on the podcast that they didn't have anything really up front. But I think the Netherlands will be too strong for Argentina because I think this World Cup has kind of shown, as you've been saying, that they've relied too heavily on Messi.
Mm-hmm.
I think Argentina, because of the expectation and all that they came in with, I think they've shown that they're a one-man team. Whereas I think even though the Netherlands aren't playing as well as we probably all expected them to, they're at least showing that they're a team.
Yeah, they're a more complete team.
Yeah.
You-
Or sorry, Richie?
Sorry, Owen, before you jump in there, I want to say, Argentina on paper have all this attacking talent, but do you see when you actually watch that attacking talent in the World Cup? I was really excited to get to see Lautaro Martinez because I've never seen him, and I hadn't seen him play football. He is brutal.
His finishing
Oh
is
my
brutal.
God,
Them
he
chances
is terrible.
it's poor.
Di Maria. Every time Di Maria gets the ball, he runs into about three men. Obviously he's not the same player he was a few years ago, but like he's really, really disappointing. I've just found Argentina's attacking talent that was supposed to be so free-flowing and great to watch and suit American football.
Have you never?
Alvarez has
Have you
been decent.
always not thought that though? Argentina have always had the best strikers in the world. Like they've had Messi, Aguero, Di Maria, Higuain, and all in the same team, and they've never done anything.
But in 2014, at least they played expansive
Yes.
football.
Yeah.
Like it's really hard to watch Argentina now and see some of the I don't know, some of the players that play for them. You're just like, why is Otamendi still playing for Argentina?
Because
can't
he is
understand.
up.
Baller. No, I wouldn't care. Like
No, he's not even.
I honestly wouldn't care if they had nothing else. But I mean, he's keeping Lisandro Martinez and Christian Romero out of the team,
make sense.
who are 10 times
Martinez
better than
was
him.
unbelievable when he came on the other day. That block,
was.
you know.
Don't understand it.
Like
And
the-
some of the boys that are playing in midfield for them, you're just like,
Yeah, their midfield's
what?
their midfield's very weak, I think, as well.
Yeah.
I think people got a wee bit caught up in the glitz and glamour of Messi's World Cup and Argentina. But if you actually look at the Argentinian team on paper, like we talked earlier on about Portugal and how they've really got really solid players in each facet of the game, in the attack, midfield, and defence. Same with France, they're really solid in all these positions. Argentina, like
Not
their
really.
Their
Like,
midfield,
Their midfield's not good.
their back line, like who's the right back?
it's that fella
Montiel.
from
Sevilla.
Sevilla.
So, yeah.
Like you're thinking England, his choices on right back. Like their left back's Acuna, Telles is injured. Their centre backs, like I know they started on the Mandy and have Romero and Martinez. chilling on the
Tell us
bench.
class for Argentina, so he is.
Yeah, I know. Brazilian, I know.
So he was a baller for Argentina back in the day.
Look,
But
look, I said it. I said it.
you knew straight away, too.
I said it. I hope no one would notice it. People noticed it, but like they just aren't like concrete everywhere.
No, they're
They've
not.
no depth as well.
Like,
You know, their best attacking player is probably, well, obviously from Messi, is Alvarez at this World Cup. He has been very good.
Alvarez has been good, but
Yeah.
I just think the Dutch will tactically
Yeah.
outscore
Outclass
them. I
them.
think
Yeah.
Van Gaal is a better manager,
Yeah.
and he'll tactically outplay them.
Yeah. So I think we're all going for.
I
The
hope
Netherlands?
Argentina win though, because that Argentina-Brazil game would be unbelievable.
I know, but would it even?
I think it would, because it'd just be all-out attack. It'd be,
I don't
it
know.
would
I
be
think
class. I think it'd be
Brazil
class.
would just.
I think Brazil will beat them, but I think it'll be a
End
good game. The
Yeah.
rivalry there, it'd be unreal.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Hopefully.
Look, the Dutch are always one of those tricky sides to beat
Yeah,
anyway.
really
It doesn't
hard
really
to beat.
matter whether they're in the rebuild phase or not, or what
Yeah.
talent they have on offer or don't. They're always difficult to beat because they are set up so defensively that it can be hard to break those lines. But Van Gaal will have a plan, and he'll have a plan to deal with Messi.
Yeah.
Look, nullify Messi, you beat Argentina.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Simple as. And I look, to be honest, I would say the same thing about France. Nullify Mbappe, you beat France. I feel like Argentina are that same team. Nullify Messi, you're 100%, you'll win the game.
See, people talk about the Dutch DNA and the ethos of great expansive football and Johan Cruyff and all this, but yes, that was the style back in the day. But if you look at what the Netherlands have done successfully recently, like this is their first World Cup since 2010 or something.
Yeah.
Look how they got to the final in 2010. They kicked the shit out of everybody.
Yeah,
Same in 14. They got to the semi-final, beating penalties. They were
Yeah.
really hard to beat. Difficult.
Like
Van Gaal.
that probably is the DNA of the Dutch teams at the
Yeah.
minute.
Yeah.
Is
Definitely.
you're not going to beat us. We're going to make
Yeah.
sure you know you're in a game. We're going to be hard to beat. We're going to kick the shit out of you. We're going to let you have the ball. But if you come within 30 yards of our goal, if you want to get to 25 yards,
You'll get smashed.
you know it's going to be.
It works.
It's going to be every inch towards our goal is going to be a mammoth task.
Yeah.
And that seems to be their thing going forward as well, especially bringing back in Koeman. We've been talking about him the last few weeks. Obviously, he's fantastic defensively in all his teams. Not so great tactically going forward.
That's I said it last week. Like the Dutch are one of those sides I'd love to see just take the shackles off
Yeah.
because the wealth of attack and talent that they have that has actually been performing well at
Yeah.
this World
Yeah.
Cup. It's not even as if they're just good on paper. Like
Yeah.
they perform well, and they always do when they put the international shirt on. Sometimes I wish they would just take the shackles off a wee bit
Express himself.
and express yourself,
Understand,
because
yeah.
they seem to attack the same way all the time. They go to the byline, cut the ball across the box, and wait for someone to be standing there to finish
Yeah.
it off. I want to see Gakpo get involved, give him the ball, let him play with it a bit. I want to see Depay start as well. I think that'll be key to the Dutch beating Argentina because although he's not the most clinical of strikers, he always seems to score for Holland anyway. So I want to see him get involved. I want to see them push your fullbacks on, get your fullbacks forward, let Dumfries just run up and down that line because that's what he's really, really good at. And then you have those midfielders in there that'll dominate that Argentinian midfield.
Yeah.
Like Frankie De Jong could do it on his own anyway. So just
And they've good centre backs as well. Like Van
Oh,
Dijk.
yeah.
That's why I don't understand why they play 5 at the back.
It's just their managers and
It's
stuff.
just their manager. Like
Yeah.
they could just easily play 4, as you say, play the fullbacks, play them up the pitch. I just don't understand that. But
Yeah. But it's their system.
it works, so
Yeah,
I
it
can't
works.
argue it.
I think I can understand why they play that 5 at the back to get Van Dijk, Blind, and De Ligt in the same team.
yeah.
And it's to get their fullbacks, like we were talking
Yeah,
about
further
Dumfries,
up.
to get them
Yeah.
further up.
Because
that's true.
when they're on the ball, they kind of go into like the back two, where De Ligt and Van Dijk will stay back, but Blind will push up a wee bit more
he'll
into
touch
the,
on,
in
yeah.
the midfield a wee bit. So he scored there again in the last round. The Dutch didn't have a lot of fanfare coming into this tournament.
No.
There wasn't a lot of talk about them. They've been disappointing in the last couple of years. They didn't make it to 2018.
Yeah.
They didn't make the Euros. So maybe that wee bit flying under the radar has suited them a wee bit. And only now are people starting to kind of notice, go, that's Netherlands teams in the World Cup quarter-final. Aren't they?
Yeah.
Like, if they're to go and beat Argentina, which I think they will do,
Mm-hmm.
people are going to have to start really taking this team serious.
Of course.
They're going to be in a World Cup semi-final against a Brazil team that nobody's going to give them a chance against, but nobody really gave them much of a chance anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they've nothing to lose.
Brazil and Holland's also one of those like classic World
It's
Cup
one of those
fixtures.
historical World Cup games.
It is like, you
And
know.
like, no team's lost as many World Cup finals as the Dutch.
Yeah.
Like, they've always been the bridesmaid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could this be the one time that
Where'd that come from?
Love that phrase.
I was good. Like, I like that.
could the one time they're not expected to do anything be the time they actually do it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Could be a
it
chance.
remains to be seen. They could get beat at the weekend 6-0 and we all look like idiots.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't know. I had them as my dark horses for the tournament, and
Yeah.
I think they could be there and thereabouts.
Yeah. So our general consensus: Netherlands are going to beat Argentina, get into the World Cup semi-final.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Richie, if you want to finish us off.
Yeah, well, look, once again, just a massive thank you for all the support that we're receiving. Like, I mean, we talk about it all the time. Like, it's crazy how quickly things have sort of moved and progressed for us. We have some very exciting news. We're going to be doing a lot more content with some of the bigger Manchester United creators on the Parlay Sports app. Currently, we're going to be working with Isaac from the United Cloud, which is one of the biggest Manchester United social media outlets on both Twitter
Mainly
and
on Instagram.
and on Instagram. He puts out some fantastic content at united.cloud, so go and give him a follow and come on to Parlay and join in with us in the conversation.
Yeah.
We would welcome anybody and everybody, especially our fans, our supporters that we've managed to build up here over the past couple of weeks, to come on and have a conversation with us. Look, we hope you enjoyed the episode. When this airs on Friday, the World Cup quarterfinals will have just started, so do you know what, boys? I'm really starting to get this World
Yeah.
Cup feeling now.
It's exciting times.
I'm excited for it.
Yeah, you know, we're getting to the business end of the competition here, and like, it's mad to think next week, like the finals next week.
Yeah.
Next Sunday. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Mad.
Every team in this tournament now thinks they can win the World Cup.
Yeah.
That's the simple truth of it. Every team's looking at we're 2 games away from a final.
Yeah.
We get to a final, anything can happen.
If you're not thinking that, you shouldn't be
Shouldn't
there.
be there.
Exactly.
Well, if you're not thinking that, you're not going to be there come
Yeah.
come Sunday.
Exactly. And you know, for being a World Cup that has been shrouded in controversy, it is starting to pick up now.
Yeah.
Definitely.
We've had some, like, this has to be the World Cup of shocks.
Yeah.
More than anything, I would say, with some of the teams that have gone out, some of the results, it's been fucking manic at times. Like, so, look, we're excited, and we've got plenty of good content coming. I would say we'll probably have maybe 2 more World Cup episodes,
Yeah.
somewhere in around that region. We'll probably have an analysis of the quarterfinals and a preview of the semi-finals. Then we'll have semi-final. We'll run through them, and we might do a preview to the final, and then a quick reacts to the final itself after the game. I would say maybe 3 at the most.
Then back to Premier League.
Then back to
thankfully.
Premier League. So look, keep on the lookout. We're really excited to get back and cover the Premier League. That's
Yes.
that's our bread and butter, really, and
Yeah.
that's what we love doing. So we're excited to get back to that. And look, we just hope you've been enjoying the football as much as we have, and we hope that you've been enjoying the content, and keep with the bottom bins. So thank you very much for listening,
Thank you,
everybody.
everyone.
Thanks
Thank you
very
very
much.